Oh, yeah. Y'all know what the sound of that is. This is the Real Resilience Talk. And I am still Cam, Coach Cam, if you want to look me up on anything social media wise. And this is the sounds of Monchichi Rex. Shout out to Uncle Rex out there. Just overcame an injury, got into an accident, but he's all right. So was old Frankie, old big head self. They're doing all right. But if you want to listen to some good music, man, Monchichi Rex. And he gave me the soundtrack for this whole show. So again, second wins. I am coming to you. This is our episode 41, episode 4-1 over. Still doing the same thing, man. Trying to talk about resilience. What is it? How do we apply it? How do we maintain it? How do we sustain it? And how vital is it to our day-to-day lives and all of that? And then how can we, be better and then deal with and acknowledge the things that we're not so good at? And then, together, how can we just be better as people, as humans, as warriors on this planet? So I appreciate you listening, whoever you are, wherever you are. If it's helping you, I just ask that you share it. You ain't gonna hear no ads on here. You ain't gonna hear me doing no plugs for nothing. I'm gonna try to give and provide tangible tools. I will say in respect to what inspires and motivates this podcast, which is the First Amendment. You may hear some bad words, okay, but or what society says are bad words, but I promise I never had no malice or bad intent with what I'm saying. But I hope that you will hopefully hear some good words as well. I always got to say this as well because of our experiences and some of our backgrounds on here. This show is not an endorsement or an implied endorsement of any official organization, whether it be DOD or any of the branches of service or the United States government or anything like that. However, you may hear from some of us that we have referenced in our experiences, but that is our experience as individuals, and I am using my First Amendment. I defend it, so guess what? I'm going to represent it and expend it as well. So here we go with that. So don't try to get me canceled is what I'm really trying to say. But today, I'm very fortunate. A man I've known for a long time, and you just never know how your relationships will grow, how them seeds you sow and where everything will go. I'm not trying to be a poet. I didn't ever see this day coming, and I didn't know it. So without further ado, I have a special guest on here today. His name is Ryan, and if he could tell us a little bit about himself and then maybe how we know each other. And then my question to everybody is, what is resilience to you? And then we're just going to free flow like we do, y'all. So give it up, everybody. Big claps. All right. What's up, man?
That was resounding. I feel like I just stepped on stage somewhere.
There it is. See what I'm saying? That's what we do, man. That's what we do, right? We're all the stars. Go ahead.
So I got to tell you, it's hard just to call you Cam, right? So I'll explain that in just a minute. So my name's Ryan, like you said. My name's Ryan Williams. I'm originally from West Virginia, still live in West Virginia.
By God.
By golly, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that Cam and I know each other is he was my third hat or kill hat drill instructor in recruit training way back in 2007. So we're both showing our age a little bit.
Yeah, we are.
And again, like you said, I never ever thought that this conversation would be happening. I never ever thought that we would have a reason to speak again. Right? You did your thing, I did my thing.
That's right.
But it's really amazing that we've been able to reconnect. What resilience means to me, I think resilience is an attitude. I think it's a way of life. I liken it to a rubber band, right? You can be stretched, you can be pulled in 1,000 different ways. As long as you protect the core of that rubber band, it's always going to come back to its natural position. And I think resiliency is an attitude, and I think that's the best way for me to describe it. Yeah, that's pretty much what I think about resilience.
I love it. And when you say attitude, like an attitude of what? I see the symbolism behind the rubber band. It retracts. It comes back to what it was, but it just doesn't. Does it just go back to what it was, or is there growth there? Is there any progression there, or is that on us based on our attitudes?
No, I think there has to be. I think if we go back to a lesser form, right? If we're resistant in some ways, if we're not willing to adapt, right? It comes down to being adaptive, and that's where the attitude part comes in. You face the challenges, you take the challenges, but you're willing to adapt, you're willing to change, you're willing to overcome them, and not to steal from a branch that we're both familiar with, but you couldn't ask for a better motto, right? Improvise, adapt, and overcome. That's right. That's resiliency.
That's right.
That's true resiliency. So
It
that's
really
the
is.
attitude. That's an attitude you have to adopt.
Yeah. And like you said, not just like a way of thinking, but you said it's a way of life, right?
For a lot of us, I don't think either one of us would be here talking to each other if it wasn't.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that, man. And furthermore, I definitely don't think our ancestors would have been able to provide life down the chain to where we are now, right?
Dude, I watch videos, or I watch westerns or documentaries or whatever, what have you. You look at throughout history what people were able to overcome, when they were able to overcome it, and how.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine. Again, we're in the modern military, but I couldn't imagine being on one of those troop carriers landing at Normandy.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okinawa.
or Oki or anything like that. There's no way.
Iwo Jima, man.
No, I can't fathom what those guys must have been feeling,
Yeah.
or thinking,
Right.
or experiencing. So I feel like, and not just a military standpoint, leaving Great Britain, coming over here, starting something new, doing your own thing, like the whole Columbus stuff. Like there's just I think there's resiliency all throughout human history.
Gotta be.
How people have been able to apply that is different. We've all take different avenues, but sometimes regardless of the avenue, we end up in the same place.
Yeah. We got to survive. But I mean, it's not just like, and I talk about here a lot of times, I'm not trying to be some like motivational speaker or anything like that, or have like a, prosperity preaching or anything of that nature. It's more like not only survive and get by, but can't we thrive too? Can't we thrive and not just, not just be a victim and go through things, but actually grow through things and be a victor. And I know somebody out there listening is like, dude, 7 minutes in, I'm rolling my eyes. This is some happy talk. You don't even know my life. You don't even know what I've been through. Like, I see that. I hear that a lot. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know my shit. You don't know my story. You don't know what I've been through. And it's like, you're right. I don't. However, this same blueprint of having a more positive growth mindset outlook versus a negative nihilistic one usually works out better all throughout all documented things. I mean,
100%. And you look at, and I'm going to use you and I as an example. You're as the crow flies, Norfolk, Suffolk, all that area, is about 5 hours away from my house.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You're about 5 hours from me. We're the same dude in different demos, right? We both experience hardships. We both experienced life. We both experienced setbacks. And we're 5 hours away and fighting and clawing and scratching to make something of ourselves, right? So everybody, and that's if I could go back in time, honestly, and go back to recruit training and spend more time with other people, other recruits that I wasn't tight with, right?
Yeah.
And there was dudes that I'll never see again, probably never talk to again, whatever. But we're all from different walks of life, different places, different states, different raisings, different church backgrounds, different personal, social, whatever. We're all different, yet we all had one goal, right? We were goal-minded, goal-oriented. And so we had an issue, and we were able to overcome that issue with that bond, right? That trauma, what they call trauma bonding or whatever.
Yeah, it's real. Like misery loves company, right?
Right. So no matter what, like we're in it together.
Yeah.
So again, it's just when I hear people talk, well, you don't know me, you don't know what I've been through. No, I don't know everyone's story, but I know what I've been through.
Yeah.
And I know what I fought and clawed and scratched to get to. So yeah, absolutely, man. There's something for everybody. And if people are willing to listen, if they've listened to 40 episodes already, they've got to be willing to listen to 41. Right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. 41. That's right.
So regardless of who the guest is or what we're talking about, like we're all fighters, man. We're all here for a reason. Like you and I reconnected for a reason.
That's right.
I've listened to almost every one of your podcasts for a reason.
Well, thank you for that support, brother. Thank you.
100%. And again, I wish it was something I could have got a hold of in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011.
Why you say that?
Just that was my time in the Marine Corps, right? That was when I was experiencing my issues, or what I looking back on it, dude, there's no easier job. I'll just go ahead and say it. There's no easier job on the planet for those of you who are thinking about a future in the service. Be a private in anything.
That's for sure.
Right?
You don't think it then, though, right?
When you're going through it, you're like, this is terrible. Look, dude, show up here at this time wearing this.
That's right. Right time, right place, right gear.
That is what's required of you, and your life has never been that simple. I don't even know how we got on that, but
no, it's beautiful though. It's lovely, like because there's beauty in that suffering, but it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? When that's only your experience, it is the worst thing in the whole world, right? Like I heard something recently where it said a baby fell, and the baby will cry. The worst day of your life is still the worst day of your life. The worst experience you've ever had is still your worst experience. So I don't think we do ourselves no justice by playing the comparison game. And on that same note, I think I get accused of it sometimes, or some people can misperceive it. But, this toxic positivity, that's not what I'm trying to talk here. That's what we're trying to be, being a positive, toxic positivity to me, and what I've read is not acknowledging that things suck, is having a pie in the sky thought, having rose tinted glasses, is being naive, or almost like a sociopath with things. Like, some things just suck, bro. They suck. But now what? You know what I mean?
How do you deal with it? How do you navigate it? Almost every day, I'm sure that we can look out and see the effects of things sucking, right? For the lack of a better term.
Yeah.
It's too hot. It's too cold. It's too windy. It's too flat. It's too mountainy. It's too this. It's too that. Gas is too high. Groceries are too high. Like, I understand all that stuff because I feel like I got to go to the grocery store too.
Yep.
How can I just get through it, man? And again, it's going back to the resiliency thing. Like, I understand. Like, this is what sucks. It sucks that it costs this much to live. But I still have my health. I still have my family. I still have my life, right? I'm still 6 feet above ground.
That's true.
And I still have a voice. I still have something to say, and I still have a platform. So why on earth would I allow a $4 box of mac and cheese to destroy my day?
Yeah, you can't really control it. That's a big thing that has helped me with the subject of resilience, is trying to focus on, and people are probably tired of me saying it, but a stoic approach to it, not in the sense of stoic like you're a mannequin with no expressions, but you're stoic as in you're able to bear and endure and not lose your mind while doing that, to be resilient. But Epictetus 101, what can I control in this situation? And I think so often we are so concerned with the $4 box of mac and cheese, or whatever policy is coming out, or whatever thing happened that outside of voting, most of us have no control over. But yet we didn't help our own kid with their homework. Or I saw today, somebody had a sign up, it was just a cardboard box, and it said, y'all need to binge watch y'all's kids.
I saw that too. And
hilarious, bro.
And I hope that people got what that dude was trying to say. And I'm sure he was trying to be funny. I'm sure he got a bunch of, flack for it. I'm sure. Because, when we were growing up, like, cell phones weren't a thing.
No. Nope.
Right? That wasn't
Zach Morris had it, though. So, but he was living okay.
Yeah, that's what happens on the West Coast, man. I think he got the shaft on that deal.
I didn't get that Zach Morris phone. I had a beeper though at one point.
Yeah, I didn't have a phone until I was in college, but
there it is.
It just what we allow to affect us, what I can change, what I can't change. Once you learn that concept, once you get that in your toolbox, right, your mental toolbox, and what cracks me up, not really cracks me up, but kind of upsets me too at the same time, is like Marine Corps recruit training is 90% mental, right?
Yeah.
It's 10% physical.
Most definitely.
You're away from home. Maybe that's the first time you've ever been away from home. You're with a bunch of people you don't know. You're getting screamed at 24/7. You're expected to perform under duress, right? So if we can do those simple things, why can't we overcome other obstacles, other challenges, other situations, other issues? But again, if I heard someone that I cared about, or someone that I trusted, to tell me like, hey man, it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
But you need to figure out a way to get around this. You need to figure out a way to grow, or use it as a learning experience. And 20 years ago, that probably that one little phrase probably would have upset me. Like it would have made me mad.
On the defense, right?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
Like
same here. I'd be like, you had no
like,
idea. Yeah, same
yeah,
here.
dude. Like, go talk to somebody else. Like, you're not talking to me.
That's right.
That way about that. But flash forward 20 plus years, whatever. That now it's what I'm teaching my kids.
That's right.
Like, I can remember vividly my oldest son getting kicked off the football team because of his grades, and I have to go pick him up from practice. Like, it was very hurtful for him, right? That was a big deal. Like, they couldn't have just told him at school. They waited till he got to practice, got changed, did the whole deal. Then they're like, hey, you can't be on the team because of this. But if you work hard, you can come back or whatever. And so we had, a 10-minute car ride from our house to the school. And I'm just like, dude, like, I get it. Like, you're bummed. I was like, but what you do after this will determine who you are.
That's right.
If you roll over and die and you say, forget about it, I don't care. Right. I've done a bad job as a dad. But if you're willing to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, work hard, get your grades under control, like, you're going to go back to where you were. And, a month later, he rejoined the team. Right. But that wasn't from anything that I necessarily did. Like, that's what he wanted to do. That's who he wanted to be. So he worked hard for it.
Yeah.
And that was probably, he wasn't an outstanding athlete, but the fact that he was able to overcome an obstacle, work through it, figure it out, and rejoin his team, like, that to me, like, he's listening, he's watching, something positive is coming out of our shared experiences. Being a parent has actually made my outlook on things a whole lot different. When I was going through recruit training, I didn't have kids, right? I was a young man. If I lived, if I died, I didn't care. Who cares?
Right,
I'm 21 years old, whatever. I'm just going to, once that happened though, like, my perception changed, my goals changed. Like, instead of being in the field all the time, I wanted to be at home with my family or whatever the case may be. So again, it's overcoming challenges, it's working through them. I just think we don't do a good job of looking at ourselves. Like we talked about yesterday, like, I never could get drunk enough, right? I would get drunk, I would look at myself in the mirror.
That's right.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Who are you? I don't know who you are.
But then turn around and do it again.
And yeah, a couple days later, do it again and again and again and again, whatever. The definition of insanity.
That's right. But expect some different result, right? And like what was that Theo Vaughn? That's why I heard him say it. I'm sure some other people say it too. But nothing changes if nothing changes.
No, and it's got to be an action. And so again, back to the original point. If we're able to overcome all of these things, why is it so hard for a lot of us to grasp the concept of simply? And I don't want to paintbrush it to where people think I'm being inconsiderate,
right?
But just a maturation of growing up. Like, if I got together with my friends now at 38 and all they want to do is run around and drink and stuff, like, guys, we got other things to do.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have that many more sunsets. We don't have that many more wake ups. We don't know when our number's going to get called. So let's just enjoy each other's company and not act like fools, right? Can we do that? And I feel like a lot of us as service members don't look at the next day. They're still stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And really not trying to find a way out because, well, I'm a veteran, so I have that right. You and I talked about that. Like,
yeah. No, that was real profound when you said that too. And I'm it's funny if you see, I got the camera on me and you can see behind me, but it's just funny because these are the things that keep me going. But I got the Rocky quote right there where it says, ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. But right there is Bruce Lee, right? And when you're just talking about the time that we have left, I got this quote up there, and think about it. He only lived to be 32 years old, right? And he said, if you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made up of. And I try to keep that in my purview all the time because it's exactly what you're talking about, yeah, of course, enjoy each other's company and stuff like that. But like, let's not waste the time we have. And that's not to start prohibition again, folks. Y'all heard me. I told you that shit led to NASCAR and to gangster movies, right? That's what I think prohibition did, because humans are going to do what they want to, and Americans are definitely going to do what we want to. And that's just how it rolls. However, when you can see the positive in what you're giving up. Like, I'm not gonna be able to drink and do this type thing and maybe numb myself, but what am I gaining? Oh, you're gaining a real experience. You're gaining time that you can actually remember. You're gaining the ability to maybe not have shame or guilt or regret the next day because you did something or said something that you would never do under other circumstances. But I think, like we talked about yesterday, there's a lack of tools. There's a lack of skills.
100%.
And
it's not taught. I don't, of course I'm not around, right? I'm not in the Marine Corps. I'm not at the bases. I don't talk to junior Marines. I don't do any of those things. It's just not something I'm able to do at this time, but I don't know what goes on. Well, I do know what goes on in the barracks after everybody gets released, right? Hey, you're on your time. You're on liberty now. What if we gave people more options to do more things other than that?
Other than that, as in you saying,
other than just laying around getting drunk.
Yeah, I mean, because I think we talked about yesterday too when we were offline and just reconnecting, because we haven't talked to each other, folks, since what was that, September 13th? I think 2000.
September 21st.
There it is. I don't remember that much because the very next day we picked up a whole new platoon. Like the very next day was during the surge, right? So we graduated on Friday, whole platoon of Marines. It was my first cycle ever as a drill instructor, so I definitely sucked. And then the very next day we were standing in front of a new group of straight up civilians in hunting suits, and we were starting it all over again. So it was crazy, but we were reconnected yesterday for the first time. We talked to each other on social media. We've messaged each other, and getting to reconnect, we had talked about, how some people literally just don't know. And for some Marines, especially, and service members, and especially young people too, if you never hunted, you don't know if you like hunting. If you ain't never fished, you don't know if you like fishing. If you ain't never went into poetry, you don't know if you like poetry. But then all of that. But if you know you like Pornhub, drinking, and video game, well, you'll probably do Pornhub, video game, and drinking all the time. And that's what happens too often, right?
We don't expand our palates.
There you go.
And we don't expand it because we don't feel like it's necessary. And I'm just speaking from my experience. It's not an indictment on anybody.
It's real though. It's your experience and it matters. And I want to tell you before you even go further with it, thank you for being willing to share it, and thank you for your service, because it takes all of us. But again, folks, he's talking on his experience. This is an indictment or a paintbrush on all of society or the demographic he's speaking about. This is just this man's lived experience. So let's listen.
Yeah. So I was one of the oldest boot Marines, right? That came to the unit. I was the oldest one out of all of us. And so naturally I became a prime target for a group of senior, quote unquote, senior Marines. Like when they want to go out, like Williams is going to go with us because he can get in and drive and DD and all that stuff. And that was actually how I got in with those guys and made friends with people that ordinarily wouldn't want to be my friend. Was because I could go places my buddies couldn't go. Mm-hmm. And again, like I said, it's not I don't want to spend the whole time talking about drinking, but if there were just alternatives, if there were options, if there were, instead of littering, Jacksonville with strip bars, throw a water park in there, man. Throw someplace for guys to go and relax. And again, the stigma, right? You don't want to go out in town and run into some, salty gunny that's like, why didn't you get a haircut yet? Dude, I'm just trying to enjoy my liberty, man.
Are you wearing a belt, you?
Yeah. And I think that all comes, that all plays a part in it, whether we want to admit it or not. For sure.
Yeah, I'm kidding, but yeah, I've been that guy.
and dudes will go hole up in their barracks and play Guitar Hero for 6 hours, drinking and smoking and doing whatever, because they're afraid, they're scared to death to go out of town.
That can happen.
Go out in town because they're going to get harassed.
Yeah.
Or, the barracks becomes a prison and a palace.
Yeah.
For good or for bad. And I just wish maybe there was more alternatives, if guys had more options, if they knew they had more options. And I remember they introduced the single Marine program, and all that stuff's fun, but some people have, again, it comes down to unit availability. It comes down to right? If you're in certain MOSs, like you don't have a whole lot of free time.
Yeah. And again, this is your experience between
Right.
2007 to 2011. Because on that note, anybody who listens or is familiar with the Camp Lejeune area, I know that between McTiff, Marine Corps Total Fitness, and I've posted a lot about that. I actually had a whole dedicated episode to explaining that and the push for that and trying to provide tangible tools. Because you're so right, because I was there between 03 to 07. Yeah, 03 to 07. And it was like, what do we do? Right. It was like a lack of options, a lack of healthy outlets. And honestly, we probably weren't that creative at finding new ones too. So I was young and immature and I didn't know what I didn't know. But I thought I knew everything. So that's another part too. But then they also have something that's really thriving on Lejeune. You'd be happy to see it, man, if you ever get a chance to go down there. But they have the War Center, which is a Warrior Athlete Readiness and Resilience Center. And it's pretty dope because they try to take the model of like how these Division I, I know you Mountaineers, West Virginia universities,
There it is.
Alabama, all these big type programs and how they treat and condition their athletes. They've done that and they're doing that. I know specifically in the major hubs to be able to provide like a sanctuary, like a place of refuge. And also inside that same building is going to be places where people can seek help. Say the MFLAC's office, like the Military Family Life Counselor, won't just be inside building whatever it is, because as soon as you go over there, we know you're going to see the wizard. But instead, it's inside that War Center where also the nutritionist is, also financial planners are, also the Semper Fit and the athlete, the coaches and stuff are there. So it's like a hub for wellness, really. And we're calling it War Center, which is Warrior Athlete Readiness and Resilience. But from what I've been told and from what I saw when I went down, it warmed my heart, man. Because I don't even think like Wallace Creek was out there when you were there. And like some of the all of that stuff was just fields, if you remember right. I think the nicest gym on base was like French Creek, and that was even like, whoa, back then, right? But I will say things are on the up and up, and I think there's an effort there, but it's also, it takes two to tango, right? Like it can't just be like the system providing facilities and providing things. It's also got to be the people that are like, hey, nothing changes when nothing changes. I don't like what's going down. I don't like how I'm feeling. What can I do to change my behavior? But again, that's complex. And I'm not trying to, like you said, cast a stone or paintbrush over the whole generation or whatever, because they just don't know what they don't know. And it's hard being young and away from home. And, most of us highest rate of ACEs, they call it, adverse childhood experiences, right? And if you look those up, folks, adverse childhood experience, I'll tell you, the joke I always tell groups I speak to is like, if you go down the list, I could tell you I got more ACEs than an Atlantic City casino. You know what I'm saying? And majority of us do, though. So I'm not trying to say a victim card, but you put all of that together and you put the young mind in that environment and like you said, they don't have a palate for outlets. You get some of these bad situations that occur, man. What's some tangible tools that since then or even then helped you to be a better Ryan?
Well, I think the Marine Corps version of me is probably like, I'll forever be proud of my accomplishment, right? But that version of me wasn't the greatest dude. And I wasn't the greatest dude to people, and I wasn't the greatest dude to myself. Very selfish, very ambitious.
Yeah.
But for my own gain, for my own, like, I don't really care about anybody else. Like, what can I get out of this?
Man, dude, thank you for saying that, bro. Like, damn, thank you for saying no, because so many people, we just don't want to say that. That takes humility. Thank you for saying that, because we are pretty selfish.
Humans are naturally selfish, and and I think that's why, honestly, sometimes you hear the mantra beat into your head, like, weapon, gear, body, right? We're the last ones, should be the last ones to get serviced in the field.
That's right.
And so the things that I've tried to do, like, honestly, finding my faith. So I want to backtrack real quick, and we'll go back.
No, brother. Hey, this is, please, this is your platform.
So until I graduated recruit training, like, I hadn't really accomplished anything, right? That was my first major adult accomplishment. I graduated high school, big fish, little pond type deal. Like, everybody knows me, everybody loves me. Ryan's going to go do whatever. And I was serious about my faith then too, but I was also immature and young, right?
Right.
I go to college. I go to a Bible college. The same one I just graduated from last month.
Congratulations.
Yeah, super awesome. I hope we'll talk about that too. But
please do.
Yeah, so I go to school. My grandfather dies, who, up until that time at 19 was the only dad I knew. So he dies in my first summer back. So my first semester, my first summer back, he dies. I'm like lost for the first time ever. At 19 years, I didn't know where to go, what to do. Faith notwithstanding, I didn't know how to cope with that. And I go back to school in the fall, and I'm just a train wreck on wheels, right? Like, I'm just, if there was a way to rebel, I was rebelling. This is what the rules say. This is what I want you to do. I did the polar opposite simply for the fact that I didn't want to be there, but I didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So flash forward December 2006, going into January 2007. I get the call, go to the dean's office. Hey, look, we've tried. We're done. Like, we're done with you. We're done with your antics. We're done with your whatever. So January 2007, I have to come back home now a failure, or at least in my eyes at that time, a failure. Right? The school no longer wants to deal with me, so I have to go home. Well, I didn't really have a home to go home to, right? Because my dad died, and my mother and I were kind of strained or whatever. So I'm like living with people wherever I can live with them.
Yeah.
I'm staying in hotel, like I'm getting money. I'm staying in hotels. I'm doing all this stuff. I get a job at a daycare, right? The weirdest and greatest place I ever worked. It's hard to explain, and I made real relationships, developed real relationships with some of those kids, and I kept a whole lot of, like, they drew me, like when I left to go to recruit training, like they drew me pictures and wrote me letters, and I brought them with me to recruit training. Because I cared about those kids. So yeah. I didn't get recruited. I called the recruiter. Like, I called them like, hey, I don't know what to do. My life's a mess. I want to join the Marine Corps. Oh, okay. So he comes and interviews me. Sergeant Tipton, who is now Captain Tipton. We're actually still pretty tight. We talk pretty regularly, about as much as you and I talk.
Wow.
Yeah, like we're bros. And so this is, I don't know, man, the end of May 2007. I'm in the depth for 2 weeks. Literally, I'm in the delayed entry program for 2 weeks, and I go to recruit training. So up until that point in time, Marine Corps recruit training was the only thing I'd ever accomplished as an adult. And so I didn't know, that was all I had. That's what I read, like you talked about yesterday, like resting your laurels on what you've done.
Yeah.
That was my greatest accomplishment. So it was the thing I was most proud of. So I kept it. It was mine. It was pretty. I cultivated it. I watered it. I protected it. And everything else didn't matter, right? So you flash forward, like I said, 2011. Now I'm going to have to start over again. And it's kind of, and the pattern repeated itself. Like, I wasn't homeless, but I was still searching. I wasn't fulfilled, like bouncing from job to job. Didn't like this one, got into some trouble. Actually, I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Surprisingly, they look down on you if you try to assault customers.
Oh, so, man, that was good. You reeled me right in for that one. I was like, oh, hold on, what?
So I'm 3 weeks out of the Marine, like 3 weeks from being home, and I'm still in Marine Corps mode, right? I'm still amped up. I'm still agitated. I'm still angry. I'm still drinking. I'm still blaming everybody else for my problems.
Uh-huh.
And I go to work, and I have to wear a little tie, do the whole deal. And this, like, we were just having a bad day. Like, everybody in the office was just having a bad day. And this cat come in, and he said something stupid. And I let him know fairly quickly, like, I'm going to throw you out the window. And, you know, obviously you're not supposed to do that, right?
Yeah, that's not nice. Not nice.
And so it wasn't until that moment that I'm like, I got an issue that I gotta get figured out. And
This
so
is
I started talking.
2011, right?
This is 2011. So this is like August of 11. I was
So
about to say 011.
right, 11. But you
011.
you had left active duty in that right around that summer, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
June of 2011. Yeah, I got out.
got out, right? Only us and inmates, bro.
Right. And again, there's just, and I think hopefully it's better. And I feel like they try to prepare you like steps and taps, the whole deal. But nothing prepares you from coming home. You got your green sea bag, you got all your gear, you got all your stuff, and everybody's happy to see you for about 20, 25 minutes. And it's like, all right, well, we got our lives to go back to.
Ooh, yeah.
So
now what?
We'll see you. We'll see you next time. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I thought the party was going to keep going.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I think you're asking me about the tools that I've.
Yeah, because you obviously came into, this right now where it's like your sense of purpose, your sense of identity is now gone, and you realize, I got some baggage and I'm pretty angry and hostile. And like, what is, I mean, I know you spoke on faith, and that's definitely, total fitness. You got to have your spiritual side, but what are some of the tools that like you wish you'd have known sooner, or that got you through this time of like, whoa, like, do I even matter? Because that's how I can envision. I'm not saying you didn't matter by any means, or veterans don't matter, but I've heard time and time again where you get this feeling like what matters. Like you can almost turn nihilistic in a way.
Sure, and a lot of us think that like we're the most important thing since sliced bread that's ever been created. Luckily, we're not like the Vietnam veterans that had to deal with what they had to deal with, right?
Yes.
We're not. We're in a publicized era where, a lot of World War II veterans just came home and drove a taxi and went and taught school or whatever. Like they just reintegrated almost flawlessly.
Yeah. To our knowledge, though, right?
To our knowledge, right?
Yeah.
They don't really talk a whole lot, but to our knowledge, they integrated flawlessly. The Vietnam vets dealt with what they dealt with. Korea dealt with what they dealt with. And so we all think that we're hot stuff and that people are going to always, like, no matter what, like, you're a veteran and we care about you.
Yeah.
And I remember I applied for a job with the West Virginia Attorney General's office, and I got the job. Like, I didn't have any qualifications, really, to have the job that I had. Somehow I got it. And the lady that interviewed me, and I'll never forget this, she was like, do you think that you're special because you're a veteran? And I was like, well, yeah, of course. Like, we're a small percentage. And she's like, I got to tell you. And again, this is her feelings, and we've since talked about it ad nauseum, her and I. But, she's like, veterans are a dime a dozen. That doesn't impress me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So do I have, do I have the job or not? And that was her attitude. And I come to find out that, like, that's a lot of people's attitude.
Yeah. Show me, prove it.
Yeah. So that's cool that you're a vet, but, like, we're out here doing this thing. I've been in this career field for 20 plus years. I've been to law school. I've done all this. I've done all of that. All you've done is be a Marine up until this point. Like, that's your major accomplishment. And again, a big one.
Yep.
But it doesn't fit a whole lot of people's checklists, employer-wise.
Right.
So that started kind of like an inner reflection, and then again the conversation I had with my pastor. Hey, like, it's awesome that you're a vet, and I really appreciate that, but not everybody feels the same way. Like, that's cool, but you're not the coolest guy in the world. You're not the most important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And that you need to figure out who you are, basically.
Yeah.
And so that started a long journey of trying to figure out who I really am. And I don't know if you remember, you probably don't, but I was the Protestant lay reader in boot camp.
I do remember that.
So I was trying to be who I was supposed to be, and I was trying to do the things I was supposed to do. I went to church every Sunday, and I want to think, I'm pretty sure I was like one of the only dudes that went because I just genuinely wanted to go to church.
Yeah.
A lot of
dudes get away from away from the barracks.
Right. I was actively paying attention to what was happening. That was my solace, right?
Yeah.
That was my moment of calm and peace. But really just a lot of inner reflection, a lot of figuring out who I am, a lot of soul searching, a lot of digging, a lot of stop and starts. Again, I think that's where the resilient nature, the resilient attitude. Like I've climbed the mountain before. Why am I having such a hard time now?
Yeah, but not every mountain's the same, and I think it's what I equate it to sometimes when I hear that is like we have to keep on growing, and like if you don't continue to lift weights, you lose your calluses. Like those astronauts that when they come back into orbit and they land on their little capsule, the ones that have been out there for a long time, a lot of times they need help walking when they're coming off because they haven't had any gravity, they haven't had any stress on their joints, it's kind of like an atrophy, right? And I think we can do the same thing if we continue to rest on our laurels. And folks listening right now, they might say, okay, all right, so two Marines talking about Marine Corps stuff. No, this is you used to be the star this or the star that, or you were the hot shot at whatever corporation you used to work for, or you were the go-getter in high school. If we mess around, we'll turn into Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite real quick. You know what I mean? And just be talking about what we once did. And that's kind of a miserable state to be in. And one thing I heard recently was like, what does happiness look like? I think that's hard for anybody to describe, but I heard Tony Robbins say, he had said progress, human progress. Like if you're progressing, but if we fail to progress, like we stagnate. And that's not good for anybody is when we do that. And I think a lot of us, no matter if we're military or whatever the background is, we can find ourselves stagnating in life, and that's not a good place to be. So when you felt yourself there, right, and you have this inner searching and the lady's like, okay, great, you're not special, right? Which I love that she said that, like, do you think you're special? Because one thing I try to remind myself, I try to remind my kids of, people I serve with, people I know, people, friends. I think a big problem in our society today is, yes, we are all important. Everyone matters. Everyone is important, but ain't nobody special. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. And she just came out and said it. And I was kind of, I don't even know, like flabbergasted. Like I don't even like is that the right word?
Yeah.
Because no one had ever talked to me that way.
Yeah.
At least people that I didn't know.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, this lady thinks I'm a moron. They still gave me the job.
Yeah.
But she doesn't. Maybe I'm not as cool as I thought I was. And it's the same thing as like, I have Tina. Like you have an adult daughter now, right? She's now a Marine.
Yeah, so, I do. That's crazy.
So as cool as Cam thinks he is, there's still going to be a moment in time where Cam's not as cool as he thought he was.
Oh, most definitely. I get reminded of it all the time, man.
And you don't really see that full, like that whole sphere until you have teenage children.
Yeah. You start trying to use slang that they use and it doesn't work. It's not cool.
No, you look stupid.
I look really stupid whenever I try to say lit. So yeah. And I don't even think that's cool anymore. So there I am, I'm looking mid or whatever they say.
Yeah, I think that's the new one. Like I heard like one of my kids in my youth group said it the other day. He was like, that's mid. And I'm like, what are you talking
What you talking about? Like a fade? Like it's like a medium fade? What you mean mid? What's mid?
You got the ducktail out there? Like what's that? No. So yeah, so like really like that's what started it, and whether she realizes it or not, like that's what started with me, the inner, like I need to figure out who I am.
Yeah.
I'm no longer this, so what am I going to be? And I've had a long career in different fields. I've had, a lot of stops and starts, but ultimately, like I wasn't complete with myself.
Yeah.
Until I got myself straight with my faith.
That's good, man.
And again, it's something I've always been believed strong in, but didn't do it in practice, especially in the Fleet Marine Force.
Yeah.
And guys called me preach or preacher or whatever. And I'm like, I really wish you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate it. Like that's my nickname of the whole group, but I ain't that dude. Like I'm not living the way I'm supposed to. I'd rather you not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't until then, man. And I'm talking, what I say 5-7 years ago, like, that's when my life started taking a different course.
But 5-7 years ago was 2019, 2017. You said 2011. In between there, all of that time until that 17, 19. I'm not calling you out. I'm just trying to make the timeline to walk around that long. Like, who am I? And kind of for lack of a better term of what I'm interpreting, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of walk around lost a little bit.
Oh, 100, because I didn't have my buddies. I didn't have my parents necessarily. I had some friends, but I didn't have people. I'd already had, up to that point, I'd had one failed marriage. I had, I'm trying to raise a kid. I'm worried about bills. Everything I thought I was, I wasn't.
Mm.
And when you hit rock bottom in that manner, lost is probably the best way to describe it. Like I was rock bottom. I was lost, and I had no real outlet. I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody that would listen. If they did listen, they didn't care because they had their lives to deal with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you go back to? So naturally, I went to an Army recruiter. And I was like, hey, I think at that point, 2014, I think that was the end of my 8 years, right? The 8-year contract. I was like, I'm about to be done. Like, is there anything, would you guys be interested in me? Like, could I just switch uniforms and I'll come over, go back to, like, that's all I know. I knew that's what I was successful at. So let's try it again. And he's like, yeah, we don't really have, there's no infantry in this area. If you did come on, you'd have to switch MOSs. You have to find a new job. He's like, plus you wouldn't be a sergeant. I was like, what do you mean? And to me, that was my greatest, up to that point in time, was my greatest accomplishment, was being a sergeant of Marines.
Yes.
And he was like, well, you'll go back a rank, and we don't really have corporals, so you'll be a specialist. Mm-hmm. I'm like, so you're telling me, in 5 minutes, you're telling me that I've destroyed a career that I was very proud of, and putting on a different uniform and dropping rank. He's like, oh, you'll probably get it back in 6 months. No, thank you. And then my brother was a Marine as well, so he got out of staff sergeant, and he just pulled me aside. He was like, you've already done it once. You have nothing to prove to anybody. And he's like, plus, you don't know these cats. You don't know these dudes, right? Don't do it. My advice, don't do it. Okay. So I tell the guy I'm not interested. So then I don't know what to do. I don't know. Again, I start from scratch. And again, it's just that constant clawing and fighting and figuring it out and growing. I finally met a woman that worked for me. I met a lady that we jive.
Yeah.
And so that started, and then she had a family prior to meeting me, and then that got integrated, and like things started falling together once I started getting my life together.
Yeah.
And it took 6-7 years post Marine Corps exit to figure out who I was.
In total, that's a 10-year time span from when you first joined. And
100%.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, life's a journey, right? Like, I hear you now, like owning it and looking back, right? And I think we all, at least I know for me, like I will criticize the dog crap out of myself when I look back, and I'll be like, you stupid idiot. But I would have not let I'd probably call myself that then, but I would have not let nobody else call me that then, right? But like in the process of growing or correcting or rectifying certain things, I do feel like there's a sense of ownership that comes. But in hindsight, it's like, yeah, I had to own up and then whatever. But was there like a time or through that period where like what Jocko talk about, extreme ownership, like owning your shit, like did that come to you, or just was it just like just move on to the next thing, figure it out, like, or what,
No, it was, I don't know what happened. And I really, again, it's like if you're familiar with Bible verses or Bible stories, right? When Saul is on his way to Damascus and he has this encounter with Jesus, right? Like Saul's life's changed forever. He becomes Paul, and he switches gears.
Right.
And it's almost like my road to Damascus. Like I had this overnight, like, this is who you are. Stop being a moron. Go do what you're supposed to do type situation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Like I have a lot to unpack here. Like I have a lot to, like, I owe a lot of people an apology. I owe a lot of people, like, they'll never take me seriously. They'll never, whatever. And it was more like, it doesn't matter. Just go do what I told you to do. Right.
Yeah.
And if anything, as prior service members or Marines, we do what we're told. And that's kind of what I did. I'm like, all right. And so once I stopped searching, I figured some things out. I'm like, this is the turnaround. This is the catalyst to start restoration. Like, and again, I think that's a part of resiliency. I think the restoring part.
Yeah.
We self-deprecate like you're talking about. We were morons. Well, I can't believe we did that. Whatever. So how do you redeem? How do you get redeemed? How do you redeem yourself? How do you overcome it? How do you do all those things? For everybody, it's different.
Right.
You took a different path. I took a different path. But for me, again, like we talked about yesterday, it was like once I stopped drinking alcohol, once I took a step back and had a moment of clarity.
Oh, I love it. Yes.
Okay, so I don't need this to have a good time. I can go to a ball game without alcohol and have a good time. I can go to a party, not a party in the traditional sense, but like a get together or a Super Bowl situation or something like that, and not get inebriated to the point of falling down drunk. Man, there's a whole lot of people that have some really cool stuff to say.
You can't even remember it because you wasn't really checked in, or you was over talking to them the whole time, right? At least that's me.
Now you can. Now you can't. You have that moment of clarity. You see the world differently. You see other people, and once you start seeing other people, in their struggles, and you help them in their struggles, then you're able to simultaneously help yourself.
Oh, give and receive.
100%. Are people willing to do those things? Are people, it sounds convoluted, but it's really not. It's the clarity that post alcohol brought me to where I am at, on 6/20/2024.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not, however you got there, if you're doing it, it is what it is. But for me personally, once I stopped drinking, my life changed forever. For the better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's, I could say the same thing, man. I'm 5 years into this with being dry from it. And, yeah, it's obviously every day ain't perfect or whatever like that, but it sure is better than it was. And I don't have to hate myself as much. But like the other thing is too, as you're saying, the clarity you have now to view things and what, the whole time you were speaking just then, and I remember the conversation we were having yesterday, and you said, I was waiting for the word to come out, clarity. And if I backtracked or rewind it, when you said clarity, I was like, there it is. Because what was in my head was that Jay-Z song where he's like, thank God for granting me this moment of clarity. Like I kept hearing that violin in that song, right? And that's what it sounded like to me, like, because you have this moment of clarity where you can see, I can see clearly now, but the rain's still going to come, but you can see the rain clearer now, and you can kind of decipher through things a whole lot better. You're a better you when you approach things. And then, like you said, when you do help others, and I try to say this a lot, it can get misinterpreted sometimes because you can't pour from an empty cup. I get that 100%. You don't want to burn yourself out saying yes to everybody else, and then you don't take care of yourself, because that will lead to burnout, which will lead to a lack of empathy, which will lead to a lot of other bad things and catastrophic mistakes in your life. But there is something, as you said, they're convoluted. They're connected to each other because you have to work on yourself at the same time as kind of the others thing. But I think when you go internal and that woe is me and you dwell, I don't think that's a good place to be either for a lot of us. I know people like me. I know the lead singer from Linkin Park was like that. He even said that, like, I can't be inside this space by myself. Like, I can't be in there. And I never heard nobody else describe it like that. But that's how it is for me. So if I gain I'm just speaking for me because I'm a narcissist and I just made it all about me. How about that? But I gain strength from going external, right? Like it helps my internal by going external and trying to maybe help others, or makes me more accountable to the stuff I'm talking about or what I'm trying to help this other person with. What were some things that, like, if you don't mind specifically, like to where you did that, you went external, you helped other people, and it enriched you, and you give, you receive type thing? Because I think sometimes people are like, oh, I will start doing that and going external once I get all my stuff right and tight. And I'm like, oh, you ain't never going to get there, because we just ain't never going to be perfect.
Well, you'll just be going around in circles. Really service, man, any type of like volunteer service, whether it be going to like a local vet, like an animal shelter,
Yeah.
walking dogs, like something that's what people assume to be silly. Walking dogs, feeding animals. I used to help this lady on a horse farm. I would go. We have a national cemetery, like a veteran cemetery. I would go once a month and help clean gravestones. Doing something for someone else other than myself seemed to get like that gave me purpose. Like, what am I going to do tomorrow? I don't know. So and so needs help. They need a couch. They need to help moving a couch.
Yeah.
And I still do, like, to this day. Like, that's my cornerstone is service.
Man, that's beautiful,
And
dude.
and it's not for people to say, well, Ryan really just volunteers his time all the time. Man, there's days I'm tired. There's days I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
There's days where I don't feel like it.
Right.
But just getting out, not like you're talking about being alone with your thoughts or being alone with yourself or in whatever you're in.
Yeah.
That's how depression sets in, dude. And I think if we're out serving other people, we don't have time to be depressed. We don't give it time to take a root. We don't give it time to dwell. I'm not upset about things that I was upset about 15, 20 years ago because I don't give it time. I don't give it space.
Yeah. Acknowledge it. There it is. Don't suppress it. Keep moving forward.
That's the biggest thing, right? Is actually acknowledging the fact that you're broken, acknowledging the fact that you're hurt, acknowledging the fact that things bother you, instead of suppressing them, keeping them hidden until you explode.
Yeah, because it happens, man. It happens, bro. Like, I've said it to point of nauseam on here, but, look at somebody like Will Smith. I mean, people have their own personal opinion of the man. I've always admired him since I was a young child. We're 80s babies, so we all thought Will Smith was cool on Fresh Prince. And you probably had his tape or something like that. But, like, I asked people in a public setting, I'm like, who thinks that Will Smith was smacking Chris Rock that night? And everybody's like, nah. I mean, that's exactly what happened, the physical act. But it's like he was smacking something else, man, that was, like, not worked out or not dealt with. And if you don't deal with your mess, it will come out and deal with you. I'm just happy my, most vulnerable, mistaken moments weren't on national television, so I ain't casting stones at the man. But a hurt person hurt somebody that day and probably didn't deserve that. And it was probably because it wasn't working the stuff out. And I know, here's the thing too, the man did do some things to work some stuff out, because I read his book and I followed him for a long time. He's done some therapy. He's done some things to deal with trauma in his life. But I also feel like, man, if you don't stay engaged, if you don't stay on yourself, if you don't, as our commandant said recently, maintain momentum, complacency can set in, and then you become vulnerable. And, maybe he atrophied and the moment got the best of him, but maybe I don't want to speak for the man, but I know that it has to be a continuous, a continuous journey, a continuous growth, a continuous, working out and maintaining the strength that you have. Because, if you don't brush your teeth every day, you're not going to have good breath. If you don't work out on a regular basis, you're going to lose the strength that you had. And I think it's the same thing when we talk about avoiding depression or dealing with trauma or brokenness or whatever it may be. If we don't stay engaged with that growth or with those healthy things, like you said, service. I'm so glad you said that, man. Volunteer service is such an important, tangible tool that really everyone can take part in some way, whether it's coaching a youth sports team or if it's, like you said, helping a lady on a farm, going external, like you receive from that. I got to ask you though, and I'm probably going to change the whole subject, and I didn't mean to, but when you say washing headstones, cleaning people's headstones is an act of service, what goes through your mind when you're doing that, bro?
Well, thankfully, personally, I didn't know anyone, in the like, it's a service member cemetery, right? It's all veterans, and like that was my way. For me, it was acknowledging their sacrifice, right? It was a fulfilling feel. Like I was overjoyed to do something and give back in that manner.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know any of them. I didn't serve with them or anything like that, but like those cats had their own deals. Like I felt like that was my life coming full circle, just to be able to acknowledge them and their sacrifice and how it made me feel about, one, being an American, being a veteran, being a Marine Corps veteran. It was just a full circle moment. And it's something I really like doing. Like, I still like doing it. Like, I'll go not just to the National Cemetery there and Institute, but to other cemeteries. Like,
Yeah.
I'll take a bucket of water and some soap and clean or upkeep. And it sounds weird, like nobody likes to
Nah.
go to a cemetery, right? But that, for me, it's therapeutic. I don't even know how to describe that.
That's beautiful though, man. Because I mean, I know you saw me post it on the morning of the family day down in Paris Island. I had posted on social media. I was running through downtown Beaufort and some of the headstones there, and it was like 3 a.m. because I had to. That's just when I had to get my run in, and that's when I did it. And it's sobering being there in that space, but then like you're also cleaning it, and you know you might not want to go there, right? But eventually, in some way, shape, or form, we're all going there. It's like the one thing that's guaranteed in this life is that we are going there or some form of it. We will die, memento mori. You will die. So it's just when you're thinking about living, you're thinking about living your best life, and you're thinking about improving and service and actually making a difference while you're here. You're cleaning the headstones. That to me is just, I feel like I got some therapy from just hearing you express it. You know what I'm saying? And I think anybody that's on the same wavelength will get it too, because it's more than just a headstone. It's everything it represents. And the only difference between us or you and those people is time. Time.
That's it. That's the only difference. And anybody can do it. I mean, I know some people, like my wife, for example, is absolutely 100% anti-cemetery. She's anti-funeral home. Like I'm 38, but I feel like I go to funerals now. It's almost like a way, like you catch up with people, right?
Ah, man, staying ain't so, but yes.
You reconnect with people that you haven't seen in years because you went to a funeral.
Yeah.
It sounds crazy. It sounds weird. Like, I have no issue with death. I don't want to say I don't fear death. I think everybody fears it to a degree, but it doesn't bother me. And so going to, especially where my family is buried, or I go visit, I try to go every 6 months to where, we talked about Chad Gilliam.
And rest in peace, man. That's just crazy. I'm sorry to change. That's just that still hits me so hard when you told me about him passing in service to our country overseas in Afghanistan, man. It just, yeah, I mean, I didn't know him other than being a drill instructor, right? But it's just, man, the ultimate sacrifice, and so many did.
So he was my dude, and he come from about 2.5, 3 hours away in Kentucky, and so I drive down there. I try to go every 6 months because it's a haul, and I go down there, just spend some time, like finding it, figuring out where he was, all this deal. Like it was a painstaking process, but like that's therapeutic for me. I go down there, spend some time, whatever. Like I wrote him a note one time for Christmas, like just a letter, and put it in an envelope, just like, hey man, this is where I am now, and I felt like he was entitled to that.
Yeah,
like we were that tight. So again, it's the service thing that for me was the biggest achievement. Doing something for someone else with no benefit. Right. That once I got that concept or that precept, like that changed my life. Just serving, volunteering, helping people. Like I dig it.
Yeah.
Again, there's days where I don't feel like it. Like especially if somebody needs something at 8:00 on a Saturday, I'm not always gung ho. I'm not always.
I'm gonna go save the world. Hold up, player. It's 8:00.
Dude, like I'm tired too, man. Like I need some sleep, I need some rest. But that for me was the beginning of a change. Not worrying about me, worrying about what I was doing and who I was doing it for, regardless of what it was.
Yeah.
Volunteering, serving. I think that takes you out of your funk. If you're in a funk, go help somebody. Like if I could give any advice on this podcast, on this channel, if you're in a funk, go help someone else. Like honest to goodness, that'll change your perspective.
It's so powerful, man. And quote him again, Will Smith, brick by brick, it all adds up, man. It all adds up. I've said it often on here before. Rome wasn't built overnight. We all have heard that. We've all heard that, but it also didn't fall apart overnight. And I'm stealing that from Jocko Willink, but another Mustang hero, but in naval service. But yeah, it all adds up. Those little random acts of kindness or service, or man, it's so therapeutic. And I think I'm digging it because I'm an addict to it, almost, like not to the point of my own destruction, but there's something about it when you can be a light for someone else. And I think I heard Jordan Peterson say it recently, man. I listen to him a lot because a very close brother of mine, similar to your relationship, coming in together and deploying together, all that kind of stuff with some of the Marines you've had. He just lost his wife. She just passed away, and God rest her soul. But he like that day posted like no matter what, I'm going to do good. And it was Jordan Peterson speaking on it. And I heard, and listening to Peterson, I heard him also say, you know, like, we're not getting out of this life alive. Like, you might as well be a light instead of a blight on the world. Right. And it says so much, man. And just people are going through some real things and real loss and real suffering. And another thing is too, and I'm sure you've had it happen to you, is, you know, it just, when it rains, it pours, right?
Oh, 100%.
So a lot of these things, it's almost like sometimes you're paying it forward. I don't know if you've seen that with things, like you're kind of prepping. Epictetus said, what ought one to say as each hardship comes? I was practicing for this. I was training for this. Much easier said than done. But it is the whole concept of having, you know, armed forces right now in occupation, right? It's the whole mindset of an athlete training in the off season. It's what ought one to say as each hardship comes. I was practicing for this. I was training for this. But there's just some things, man, we can never be fully prepared for, as I just described, you know, someone losing their spouse, or, you know, a parent, a loved one, a child. Like, it's just, this world is full of tragedy and suffering. But are we going to go through it and be a victim, or are we going to grow through it and be a victor? And then the way I look at it with some of the people I've lost, for the way I embrace it, is now I got to live for them as well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think if I would have gave up, rolled over, it's all a brick. Like, what are we putting our houses on? What are we building our houses on? Is the foundation faulty, or are we building a strong foundation? And I think over time, if you're willing to change, if you're willing to adapt, if you're willing to be resilient, right? I think that's why it's an attitude to me. Resiliency is an attitude. If you're willing to do those things, eventually the foundation that you built, like the brick by brick stuff about Will Smith, eventually you're going to have a pretty strong, sturdy foundation. So when those big rainstorms come, or those big waves crash, like, you're going to be able to bend and not break.
Yeah.
That for me, that once I was able to go through a maturation process and figure that out, dude, my life's not perfect. Like, I have issues. I have things that bother me. I have things that bug me. But how am I going to affect tomorrow?
Yeah.
Am I going to let today dictate what happens tomorrow?
Yeah.
And I think eventually, guys, like, you have to make a conscious decision to be that change.
Yeah, it's so relatable, though, because some people think, easy for you to say or whatever, but you just described that you had basically, if I remember the math right, between 11 to 17 or 19, in between there, just roaming around lost. And here you are now, still got to learn new things, still got to figure it out every day and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, and a big reason why I don't just try to be up here preaching all the time and have other people on here, is because people can relate to you. Because you left service, you were infantry. You haven't said it the entire time. You said it in regards to going to the Army, but not like banging your chest and be like, "Oh, I'm an infantry, I'm an O3, I'm a grunt." You know. Now I'm admin, so I put the OG in Pogue. That's what I do. But you know, that's some people's whole identity is what they do, not who they are, or what they've done and not who they are. And in between there, you went through a long time and long period. And I emphasize that, not to be like, hey, guess what, Ryan? You were lost for like however many years, right? No, not at all. I'm expressing that because somebody listening right now might be in the thick of that right now. And something you said or expressed and like, oh, snap, I've only been lost for 3 years. This dude was like 7. Maybe I got, maybe some things can change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Maybe I will try this tangible tool of volunteer service. Or how would I feel if I'm sitting over here not appreciating life and waking up today, and I go and clean a headstone for somebody that's not even there anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like like that could be a tool for someone else. And I think it's courageous to be able to share it and be vulnerable to say, yeah, man, at one point or not, I wasn't that great and I'm still trying to figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
No, and that was all learned behavior.
Yeah.
Like we spoke about yesterday, like just being able to express when something upsets you and you don't violently react to it, but you weep.
Yeah.
Or, I think about some of my buddies, or I try not to think about the sad stuff. I try to think about the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Right. I try to think about the happy times. I don't, even if what they did or what happened to them was not cool, they had a life. They had people that they impacted, and I'm still one of those people.
That's right.
And so would they be cool with me just rolling over and calling it quits? No, I don't think so.
Ooh, that really hits right there. And
again, I don't do it just for them.
Yeah.
But I have children. I have people that look up to me. Well, Dad, you hear the stories, right? My dad was a drunk, so I'm going to be a drunk, and his dad was a drunk, so I'm going to be drunk. And again, I'm not beating it down on alcohol. It's just no one wants to grow if they don't want to grow. No one wants to change if they don't want to change. So for me, I had no choice but to change, or I was going to die.
Yeah.
Right. Depression is real. So how did I fight it? I got up off the couch. I went and found something to do, something productive. And I used to I got into artsy and craftsy type stuff, right? I know you like to do art pieces, or maybe you draw or whatever you do, but I used to make shadow boxes for people.
Yeah.
And I got into doing that, and I kept my hands busy. I kept my thoughts busy. And again, it goes back to, I'll go buy it for you and just let me put it together. You give me the stuff and I'll put it together.
Man, that's tight.
Like, wow, okay. Like, that was my therapy. That's how I got through stuff. And we're all different. We all process things differently. But
how'd you learn you liked woodwork though, and doing things like a shadow box? Like, how did that? You obviously just didn't wake up like Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man and had this new skill for shadow boxes.
I wish it was that easy.
It would be tight, right?
But I just like reading books, reading anything I get my hands on, whatever that particular topic was, like shadow boxes, or I would watch videos and I would see other people doing it. And I would, like, my first few, like, I still have 3 of the originals that I made when I was still in the service. And like, I'm kind of embarrassed by them, right? They're like, it's straight up amateur hour, but like, to me, I can look back at it and see, like, this was a point in my life where I was going through something.
Wow.
This is almost like a trophy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I told you yesterday, like, a lot of us have I love me walls. These are my accomplishments. These are my awards. This is pictures of me and my buddies. Like, I have so many pictures, and they were funny.
Yeah.
It was me and another whoever flipping the bird. Right. And there was like 20 of us, and there's like 20 separate pictures in frames, and we're all flipping the camera, like, in each individual shot, different guys flipping the camera off. And my wife's like, that's like, do you think, is that appropriate? And I was like, I don't know if it's appropriate. It's mine. Right. This is my wall. I had that attitude about it. And then I just one day I'm like, I'm going to take everything down. I'm going to start over. And those were, like, they're great memories, and I cherish them, but they're not who I am anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I had to start a new wall, and it wasn't just about me. Now it's about my kids. It's about my family. It's about my friends. In particular, the guy that I'm actually rooming with, and while I'm out of town working right now, like, there's pictures of he and I. We're not working in these pictures. We're fishing.
There it is.
Right. This is he and I with our fish. This is he and I having a good time doing something else.
Yeah.
So how can I fill that wall that was about me exclusively to make it about the world around me? Right.
Man, that's beautiful, dog. Like, I'm not just saying that to say that, but just that's what do we always say? It forces the function, right?
Right.
It forces you to build that, to do that. And in itself, it turns you into like a force multiplier of positive, and not just, like you said, for you, but for others. And the father that your kids receive, the spouse that your spouse receives now, the friend or the coworker or the compadre, that you're
Completely
rooming
different.
with, such a different man than they would have gotten if they met you 10 years ago, or if they had you 15 years ago, right? And that's how we grow, and like you said, the maturation process. But sometimes we can go the other way, and we could become worse version of ourselves if we don't nip it in the bud. Or like you said, my family did this, my family did that, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Like, are we here to just like recreate, like keep doing the same thing, or are we here to actually grow and break chains, and be chain breakers?
And it's not just being a yes man. It's not just what'd you say, toxic positivity. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's an oxymoron. I don't think. I mean, I guess there's a whole subset. There's things I'm not privy to
It blew my mind when I first heard it, though. I had to be like, hold up, what is this? You're right. Yeah, but you're right. It is an oxy. Like, how can it be toxic? Yeah, you're so right. That's
if you're positive, and it's got to be a good thing. There's good in everything. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
Are you willing to work for it, man? And it's not sitting back. It's not being complacent. It's growing. It's evolving. It's changing.
Yeah.
It's figuring things out. I never would have dreamed like I would be the dad that I am now 10 years ago, because I didn't care about my kids, or my kid at the time. Like, I didn't care about him the way I probably should have.
Yeah.
Now, like, I would break through a wall if I felt like he was in trouble, right? I would stop, the world would stop, and I would figure it out to get to him, to fix whatever was wrong. Do I want him to be a tough man? Do I want him to be a good man? Do I want him to be a sheepdog? 100%. But he still also needs to hear 3 words that men have a hard time saying, which is, I love you.
For sure.
There's a ton of people in my life that I wish I could say that to, that I can't, because they're not with us anymore.
Amen.
Just being honest. And to me, it doesn't, if I tell another man that I love him, it's because I genuinely care about him and how he's affected my life. I don't think that makes me weak. I don't think that makes me vulnerable in any way. I mean, of course, anytime you express emotion, right, you feel like you're vulnerable. But like, I remember one time my oldest son, he was like, we got in a fight about something silly. And finally he was like, I just want you to tell me you love me. I was like, that's what you're upset about? Right? This was 4 years ago or something, 4 or 5 years ago. I was like, that's what you're upset about? He's like, yes. I was like, dude, I do things for you all the time. Like, I don't know if you've ever, again, I'm not segueing, I'm just, have you ever taken like the love language thing?
Dr. Chapman. Yeah.
So we all have different love languages.
That's right. It sounds like yours is act of service.
Mine is service oriented. What can I do for you, and what have you done for me? Like, you don't have to give me gifts. You don't have to shower me with affection. If I say, hey, go cut the grass, and you cut the grass, to me, in my brain, the way my brain processes things, you just told me you love me, right?
Yeah.
That's what I require. So once I figured out, again, that's part of the maturation process, right? Once I figured out, like, not everybody operates the same way that I do.
Yeah.
They have to be told that they're important, or that I care about them, or that I love them. And he was like, I just want you to tell me you love me. I'm like, okay, I love you, right?
Yeah.
I love you, dude. Like, what are you talking about? And that was a big deal to him.
Yeah.
Because I didn't offer that. I just felt like being a man, being a dad, going to work, providing, that was how I was showing love.
Yeah.
But really, he just needed me to verbalize it. And not just verbalize it, but show it.
Yeah.
So that's part of that process. And it all kind of, I was able to express that emotion, back to that original point, express that emotion. Hey, this upsets me. I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want to relive it. I don't want to, or just allowing it to happen. Right.
To where the emotion takes over.
Just allowing it to happen. Like,
okay. You say just let it flow.
Right. Like, I'm upset. This triggered something in my brain. It's okay to cry, man. It's okay to let it out. It's okay to be vulnerable. All of these things are truly okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not just expressing myself with a drink. I'm not just expressing myself with a fist. I'm not just expressing myself with negativity. Now I'm being positive.
Yeah.
I am showing a growth trait. And so if we can start doing those things, if we can start being real with ourselves, I think a lot of guys will start seeing more and more opportunities come their way. And I don't mean job opportunities. I just mean life opportunities.
Yeah, real opportunities, like for real growth and the effect you have on others, the most valuable currency there is, as Jim Carrey said. But good on your son, man. Big shout out to him and props to him for having the courage to say that, right? Like a lot of men, males especially, won't be like, hey, I need you to tell me you love me. Right.
Right.
Because the stereotype is I should be like, you're the traditional, or at least the stereotype of what a man is. It's the acts of service. It's the I provide. That means I love you. I don't need you to tell me that. I know it because I see what you do. That fits the narrative of the, I guess I don't even want to say majority, because that's just the perceived majority of the stereotype of what men are. But there are men like me and men like your son and many others that actually need those words of affirmation. So it does two things right there. One, shout out to him for his courage, but also shout out to you for having the space safe enough that he could actually express himself, because that's very important, to be able to feel safe, to be able to call certain things out, not in a disrespectful way, not in a belligerent way, but in a, hey, this is what I need, and being able to voice that, but also for you being open-minded and having your palate open to going, oh, snap, I ain't like that. You're like that. But that doesn't mean you're stupid or I'm smart, or you're smart or I'm stupid. It means that we're different. And it gives you a tolerance for others, because, rest in peace, Robin Williams, everyone's fighting a battle you know nothing about. So be kind, but also be open-minded to, like, this person's different from me and they only know what they know. And they may perceive things in a whole nother light. The same exact thing happens. I mow the grass for you and he mows the grass for you, or if I mow the grass for him, he don't see it the same way. Same action occurred, but he receives it in a totally different way because he's different. And that's okay. As long as somebody's not immoral, unethical, or hateful or malicious, that's okay for us to be different sometimes. I think that's something we need to also acknowledge. And I think it's so important that you said, like, be with the emotion and just, all right. Cause I have a lady in my life, a mentor of mine, I call her Captain Stellar, because I don't want to give her name up, but she told me, she noticed something was off of me, and she just told me, like, yeah, sometimes you just got to sit right there in your chair and look at it and be like, oh, hey there, depression, what's up? I'm going to be over here for a little bit. You're going to be over there. That's what it's going to be. So where it becomes toxic is like, I shouldn't be feeling sad. I should be stronger than this. I shouldn't be feeling down. I know that, the glass is half full. Well, sometimes the glass could have some more juice in it, but that isn't going to ruin my day. I'm still going to acknowledge I want to put more juice in the cup, but I'm not going to be so positive or toxically positive that I'm going to hate myself or down myself or suppress it and act like everything's okay when everything ain't okay. And it's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to try to stay that way.
Right.
I know that was like a big spiel. Sorry for my rant, but big props to your son for that, and to you, because some young men and young women don't feel safe enough to say, I need this, or they don't even have the confidence in themselves to say, hey, Dad, I need you to say I love you. So that's right. Very big.
It was a changing of the guard as far as, one, how we responded to each other, and then two, how I responded to other people. I'm not embarrassed in the slightest to tell people that I care about, male or female, like, I love you and I appreciate you. At the very least, if I go out, God forbid, I get smoked by a truck, right? I just get hit by a bus or a truck or something. I don't want anybody to doubt how I felt.
Oh, that's real.
And for me, for him, for any of my children, or however I communicate with friends, family, when I leave, amen, I love you. If I text you, hey, I'll see you tomorrow, I love you. I don't feel any shame or any guilt or any weirdness telling another dude that I love him, especially when it's 100% true. And that changed, that one conversation changed how I dealt with a whole lot of stuff.
Not just with him, but with others as well, right?
Sure. Like, if he requires it, who else have I been neglecting?
Ah, man, that's real. That's real. I mean, I'm so guilty of that. I'm thinking of a million mistakes already in my head right now. That's real. That's convicting.
Yeah. So it was just it was an eye-opening experience. And again, the cat that I was, like, a lot of people didn't like Corporal Williams, right? A lot of people didn't like Sergeant Williams, but I hope that a whole lot of people are able to take from Ryan. That's my legacy. Like, this is who I was. This is who I used to be, and this is who I am now.
Yeah.
So again, like, standing behind a pulpit telling a bunch of young people, like, this is who I used to be. This is who I am now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big deal. And getting a chance to work with young people and have a voice to them, that someone they can call in the middle of the night, like, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm whatever. Like, that's a big deal. And again, I don't know that I'm always, like, the best advice, because sometimes it's like, man, you're going to have to deal with it, right? And again, I know some people are like, well, that's an easy way, that's an easy cop out. Sometimes that's all you can do until you can figure out something else.
That is facts.
And again, it's not me not having a heart. It's you have to stand on something.
Yeah.
And so if it's just dealing with an unpleasant situation, just deal with it, work through it, and move on.
But you're there. But you're there. Right. And that's what I've heard. There's a gentleman I really respect. He's Admiral Cash. He's a chaplain of the whole Marine Corps. And he's just an amazing dude. He actually went to high school in Val Beach. Just a good dude. But one of the things I've heard him speak on before is just being there. And especially, Marines and, the stereotype of males, we want to be fixers. We want to give you the answers. And he's just like, man, sometimes all people need is for you just to be there, to answer that phone like you described in the middle of the night, to say, dang, man, that does suck, bro. Like, to just listen, to just be there, to just be that sounding board for them. And then to hopefully, if it's in an extreme circumstance, to prevent them from, hurting themselves, hurting others, or doing something that's going to permanently damage their situation over whatever this temporary circumstance is. Because all things in this world is temporary, in my opinion. When I look at theology, geology, any kind of ology or history or anything, like this too shall pass, right? It just is. And we will too. Now, some things are permanent in your life, but you can make permanent negative decisions over temporary things, circumstances, not having the best judgment, being in the shock of this moment. And then now your problem is just multiplied by who knows what. So I think that is the advice, man. What you said, just being there and being that person that people can depend on consistently. That's beautiful. And then what you say about expressing gratitude and appreciation and love for others, man, it's so real. I remember actually the cycle that when you were earning the title Marine, I had stopped. You don't know this or not, but sometimes when you're a drill instructor, there's 12 or 13 drill instructors and everybody needs, monsters and dip and, cigarettes and just all the things that end in I&E, like caffeine and nicotine, to keep moving forward that day. And then, So, somebody does a store run, everybody throws the money in or whatever. And, sometimes you just be wanting to get away so much when you're new. You're like, hey, I'll buy and I'll fly. Can I just leave? Right. And
give me 10 minutes, man.
Yeah, just to kind of just get away for a second. And one of the things I bought one time to just kind of feel normal is Kanye West had a new album out, and it was the Graduation album. And it was when y'all were in cycle. And I put that thing in my CD player and I listened to that same CD anytime I drove my car for 5 minutes down the road, because I lived in the squad bay for a while with you all, or I stayed there for a good amount of time so much. I didn't really drive my car. And then I lived on Paris Island at a friend's house. So it's so funny. But one of the songs on there, long story short, is Big Brother. It's the song Big Brother. And in there, it's just so funny. And music means a lot to me. But I'm talking to you. You have a heart. How we met, how we came together. This song came out then. And one of the lines that here's my big, shebang moment and big pow, or what I was getting at while I was belaboring the point is, in that song, Big Brother, Kanye West says, if you admire somebody, you should go ahead and tell them, because people never get their roses while they can still smell them. You know what I mean? And that lyric right there, like, expressed to me and we hear what we want to hear or whatever, and we put it on a little filing cabinet in our head. But when you were expressing it, you won't hold back on saying I love you. You won't hold back on saying I appreciate you. It's those lyrics right there. And I know he's got his own stuff to work out, don't we all? But the man's pretty smart at some things, and those lyrics right there, if you admire somebody, you should go ahead and tell them, because people never get the roses while they can still smell them. It's so real. It hits so hard. And like you said, there's many people that I wish I could say something to right now. I just can't. But I think you also go ahead.
No, even if they don't reciprocate, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's not like, again, there's some people that aren't there yet. They're not able to articulate their feelings. Even if they can't reciprocate the I love you part, like, just an acknowledgement to me is a win.
Yeah, it is.
At the very least, you know that I care.
Yeah.
At the very least, you know that it's a big deal. And like the funny part, you say that like you spent all that time in the squad bay. I kept wondering, like, every morning, like, why is this dude always, like, why is he the dude? Like, every single morning, like I would, at that point, I'm like, anybody else but him, because you and I had this, like, I don't know if you guys do this or not at drill instructors. Like, do you guys fixate on a couple recruits and just kind of...
I can neither confirm nor deny this allegation, sir.
Right.
But some need some extra attention sometimes in their maturation process.
True. And so, like, for you specifically, and we talked about this through Messenger.
Yeah.
Like, I hated your guts.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, you were always there. And I'm like, this dude.
Yeah.
Like, I know, like, if I put my hands up, like, it's game on, right? It's gonna be game on. And so, like, that one day, like, you're just giving me the what for, and the spit goes in my glasses, and like, I took them off. Like, that was, to me, that was my lone act of, you have really seriously ticked me off, and I need, this is my way of letting you know that
it wasn't intentional. So go ahead.
No, but it still happened, right? So you're yelling at me, spit flies in my face, it hits my portholes, and I defiantly take them off in front of you and wipe them off, and I put them back on, and you're like the look you gave me was like, I'm going to harvest your soul. But in that moment, though, and this is the part where I wish you guys were able to be transparent with certain recruits, or at least a good majority of them.
Yeah.
Like, I understand and that's where I think some of the guys like a Gilliam or myself or some of the older guys, like, we were able to step back and understand, like, this is your job.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to make us better.
Yep.
Or you're trying to push us. So when I would run into you, we'd be doing PT, we'd be doing PFT or whatever, or we were on the obstacle courses. Like, you were always in my face, and I'm like, go away. But you were pushing, like, my disdain for you pushed me to be great, right?
Well, I thank you for saying that, man. Thank you.
Whether you meant to, or whether it was just like, this is the dude I'm going to wear out for a couple weeks or whatever. However it worked out.
Nah.
But it was, you guys push people. And, like, it helped me separate myself. Like, am I just going to get through recruit training, or am I going to try to do the absolute best I can? Like, I did everything 100 today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there wasn't a 90, it wasn't a 65. Like, 100% I left out there today on that course, on that whatever, on that obstacle. And that's the part where I feel like you guys would go back and be like, you know what, like we made a difference today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether you do or you don't, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I told you in conversation, people have seen me talk about, making Marines, and I'm sure recruiters can subscribe to this too. It's such a precious process of people, saying they're willing to serve, and then saying they're willing to serve in the United States Marine Corps, and then, you bought the ticket, so to the show, I got to give you, your money's worth. But it's not just about pushing y'all through the process, right? It's trying to extract. What I say now is, and I got this from a guy, Matt, out in Japan. I love you, Matt. I hope he's listening. He told me he's listening. I think he's lying. No, I'm just playing. But he says EFP, and he said this when he used to coach professional athletes, extract full potential. And that to me is like what the Marine Corps Total Fitness thing does, is the mental, the spiritual, the social, the physical. you're trying to extract the full potential out of somebody, not just make it, not just, you got past the finish line. And trust me, I was not perfect by any means. I think I was on my first cycle then with you all. And I was just, I told you yesterday in confidence, at this same time, I had my spouse active duty up in North Carolina. I didn't see my kid. We were geographically separated at the time. And I was new to this whole thing, and it's just a grind, and it's just the best, worst job ever, but you do want to push them to be their best. And no, of course there's some that deserve a little bit more attention, but I can't remember like specifically being like, I want to hate Williams more than I hate, whomever, right? Like it wasn't like that. It's just the nature of it, but it is a job, and it is, it's an act of service in the end of the day, because, like Seneca said, we all are actors in a play, and, that was the job. That was my role in that process. You're, Sergeant Tipton at the time, that was his role. And then so many other people. And then, but it's like, know your role and play that as best as you can while you can, and try to do the best with it. I mean, we're here anyway. Like I think, and I'm sure I know I have in life, I've half-assed a whole bunch of stuff and not given full effort. And it usually just makes it go by slower, and usually whining about it usually makes it more of a bad experience. So like usually if I try hard and just like do what you said, where you leave it 100, even if your 100 is garbage, it's still your 100. It's still your best. It usually makes the time go by better, and you can kind of look back and be a little bit more satisfied with yourself rather than not doing your best. And I could say, even though I wasn't the greatest, definitely I did my best to try to make the best Marines that we could. And it obviously mattered because, you all went on to see more combat than I did. You all went, I didn't go to Afghanistan. I went to Iraq. I never went to Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Like, you all were literally defending the Constitution while I was still trying to make Marines, and it's just that whole full circle, man. And to be sitting here with you right now, man, it's surreal. It really is. Like, I don't want to say it's unbelievable. It's just, it's surreal. And it's like almost a dream. I say this about my last daughter that was born. And if I'd have been successful in my act of attempting to take my own life and different things, I would have never known her. Right. She was a gift I didn't ask for, like a gift you get at Christmas you didn't ask for. Like, talking to you right now is a gift I didn't know that I wanted or needed, but I did. And I'm grateful for you, man. I'm really grateful for this. Like, I mean that shit 100%. It's just full circle, and you're a good man, and you served and you protected, and you're still out there, trying to figure stuff out and maintain, and to know that you say, I think you're a good man. You'd have been good no matter what. But to say that I had some type of something to do with that, that's just, I'm grateful. I'm just grateful.
I can't be more appreciative of that. Anytime I talk to some of my seniors, regardless of where they were in my walk, as far as the military is concerned, like, all I ever wanted to hear was like, you were a good this, or you were a good Marine, right? You did your job. I think at the end of the day, that's one of the highest compliments I could ever get. And I don't like to fish for it, but someone saying you were great, you did this, or whatever, like that to me, being able to have this conversation with you, coming full circle, knowing how we met, the circumstances. A lot of guys don't want to talk to their drill instructors.
It's true.
But you obviously, a handful of you guys made an impact, right? You made an impact on my life. You made an impact on others' lives. Senior drill instructor, whoever, from the top down, like all those people. Like, when I think about Parris Island, I have nothing but fond memories.
That's beautiful.
Nothing but great memories. Like that's where, I always like to say, like, that's where I was born. I was reborn. Hard.
But
right?
You earned it. Earned it, and nobody gave shit to you. And forgive my language there, but nobody gave this to you. It's not shit, obviously, but nobody gave you anything. You earned it. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing for yourself and for, your family and friends to see as well. In the example, like, oh, wow, my dad was tough. My dad is tough. My dad, it wasn't just a then thing. My dad's still tough. He still got me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that matters, man.
Right.
That matters.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you're able to, again, you never know how people are going to be and how people are going to change. And when I reached out to you the first time, like, ever. I was like, hey, you probably don't remember me. And you're like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, I definitely did, man. Because you
I'm
did.
like,
You worked hard. You tried hard. And I do remember you being a lay leader. And, I have a special place in my heart for faith and for spirituality. And anybody that wants to be a leader in that room, I respect, because it's very hard. And no, I do. I remember all of that. I don't remember every single name tape.
sure.
But as soon as I saw your face, I was like, boom, boom. And I saw the portholes. I was like, I know who that is, And it was like, mutual friends. Oh, other drill instructors. And I'm like, there's a thing when you're a drill instructor, and obviously when you're their drill instructor, you're not their friend or anything like that. But like people,
Right.
you always, you'll see like a green belt drill instructor like talking all nice to recruits, and you just walk by and be like, secret lover, because
wow.
they're like a secret lover. Like when nobody's around, they're all like nice and they don't want to be mean. And it's like, nah, dog, like that's your role. Your role is to be the jerk. Your role is to be the one that's nothing's ever good enough. And like you said, I was so happy when you said it. You were like, why is he here? Can't he just go? Like that's the goal, right? But when I was a senior, I hope in the role that I was given, that my recruits were like, when is he going to be around? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
and you want that senior.
Yeah. And but that's where it comes down to some Bill Belichick stuff. No matter what your role is, do your job. Right. And I didn't say I was the best at it, but I tried. I did give my best. Right. And I'm sure you did too as a recruit. And we were all playing that role in order to do a combined, trauma bonding of supporting and defending the Constitution of our United States of America. Right.
Like I wanted the full experience. Like if you're going to put a boot in my rear end, like that was my expectation. Now, whether or not I liked it is a whole different ballgame. But that's the experience I wanted. I wanted to go to Marine Corps boot camp. I wanted to go through the toughest military training, recruit training that this country offers.
Yeah.
That was my goal. I got it. Was it the same recruit training that maybe you went through? Was it the same recruit training that happened in 1987? No, like things change.
Things change.
Evolve.
We evolve. Yeah. But, I don't think I think about like Chesty Puller, man. Ain't nothing, it's not new breed, old breed. It's Marine breed, right? It's such a cop out to use generational things, or it's like when you were born versus I was born, or when I joined versus when you joined, or when like, you won the genetic lottery or God lottery or whatever lottery to be born when you were born, and try to hold that over somebody else's head. Like, I think that's sometimes a cop out for a lot of us. Like, every generation has their strengths, has their weaknesses, has their things they're more better at. It's like earlier we talked about the veterans of different times. Like, did they go through these things? Yeah, they did. They just sometimes suppressed it, or all the time suppressed it. And people stayed married even when they were being abused. And that's how they dealt with their pain in some cases, not all, right? Or some, died of a stroke at 45 because of just the pain or the trauma they had endured. They didn't have a way to express it. They did go to the pub and took it all out there. And then nobody ever talked about what happened when they went back home. Like, there's just like trauma and pain and guilt and shame and disappointment and all of that is nothing new under the sun. But to say that this generation or your generation or my generation or when I went to boot camp, or isn't that convenient for me to just throw that over your head? Well, you don't even know, because when I joined Ryan, we were the digital boots. We were third phase when I came to recruit training was wearing tricolored camis and black boots. We were the first ones in 3rd Battalion when I was there to get issued the digital camis, and we were just the digi boots. Like, we were the death of the whole Marine Corps. Like, the ones that didn't ever, you didn't have to shine your boots, dog. Like, you didn't have to, you know what I mean? Right. And like, every generation has a thing. Like, Ofa May Johnson and Dan Daly could walk over here right now and talk to both of us and be like, boot. And we'd be like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the way it is. But that same generation everybody was talking about went OIF, OEF, OIR, all the things over the last 20 some years, and are now, commanders and sergeants major and leading the Marine Corps to where it is now. So it's like, it's fun to have sibling rivalry and it's fun to be the veteran and you talk to the rookie like, you got to earn your keep, but to hold it over somebody's head as if, when I went to recruit training, it was harder than when you went to recruit training. Look, man, stop. Is a person a Marine in the end? Did they earn the title? Did they stick around? Did they endure the suffering that was dealt to them? Then shut up. Then they just as much. And I'll tell you, man, in 20 some years of being in active duty, the best group of Marines I ever had as a collective, right? I've been on many teams, many places, many spaces, and all of them were good. But the best team I've ever been on as a collective was my admin shop at my last unit in Japan of Marines that were all totally born into and bred out of this new integrated training system that everybody thinks is the death to the world, right? That, oh my God, they're in the same battalion. Oh my God, like losing their minds. Like, stop, dude. We got to evolve. Actually, the senior that you had, that cycle, great mentor of mine, he used to always say, if we fail to adapt, we fail to evolve, we become extinct like dinosaurs and floppy disks, right?
Yeah.
And he also said, there's only two times to make money, when you want to and when you don't. But we always got to get paid. And I used to hate when we had to go drill all the time, but we always won. You know what I'm saying? But I hated it. But his figurative analogy there was, there's only two times to make money, when you want to and when you don't. There's only two times to PT, when you want to and when you don't. There's only two times to make the right decision, when you want to and when you don't. When it really boils down to it, do you want to or do you don't want to? You know what I mean? And I know I went on a tangent there, but you learn, you grow, you earned it. I respect you. I remember your effort. You're a Marine. You've served. You're a veteran of foreign wars. You're a veteran of our Corps. You're an American doing the right thing. You're a father. You're a husband. I respect you, man. And I'll be honest with you, not just in the moment. I love you, dude. I really do. You might not have always liked me, but I do love you because you're a Marine and you're a brother forever. You know what I mean? No matter how our initial meeting was, you've encouraged me on many a days when I see you out there with your family doing things and being a man and taking them to Mountaineers games and doing things and doing the things in your community. And then hearing the things you've done since then, man, people are like, oh my God, is this one of those times where they just kind of like love on each other in their conversation? Yes, it is, folks, because if you admire somebody, you should go ahead and tell them, if you know, because they might not get the roses away, you can still smell them. So just know you got my respect and my love, man. I mean that.
No, I appreciate that very much. And again, you're like, you don't have to call me sir. It's kind of it's a learned thing. Like,
Yeah.
not calling you that is kind of a big deal. Even when we got the title, right, we got our little team week deal, and we could call you by your rank. It was still hard.
Yeah.
For 12 weeks prior to that, I called you one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, sir.
So,
yeah.
So, and again, people are like, don't call me sir, whatever. That's like, sir, ma'am. Like, that's just who I am. I refer, yes, sir, no, sir.
Yeah.
Even my kids.
Same.
Right?
I still the same way. I'll never do it in a disrespectful way. It's just courtesy.
To me, that's the way I look at it. It 100% is courtesy. I appreciate you saying what you're saying. Love you too, man. And I can say that confidently and boldly.
Thank you.
And without shame.
And we shouldn't. We shouldn't have any shame in expressing love. And really, when we're honest about it, man, it's really what we're all searching for in life anyway. Like, it's the one thing that we all need, like love. Like, and I know it sounds hippy dippy, but it's so real.
No, people want to be loved. And I think I used to say, and I feel kind of bad about saying it, like, the best Marines were ones that weren't.
Tell me more.
Well, think about it. Like, you see this kid, right? He comes from a rough neighborhood. The Marine Corps was his only way out. Now he's a stud, right? He's a PT stud. He's a rifle stud. He can do all this stuff. He's killing it on every evaluation. He's a meritorious this. He's meritorious that, right? His whole process, his whole thought process is, this is defining me. This is who I really am.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, perception is not always reality. I don't like that, because I don't think perception is always reality. But
because it's not fair sometimes. People have a misunderstanding, prejudice, whatever it may be. So that's fair.
I don't like that saying. But I think, I used to think that the best Marines were the ones that were without love, right? Like, people joke and say the Marine Corps is like this redheaded stepchild that gets locked away until the government needs us or whatever. All right, we're abused, we're abandoned, now we're out to get you, right? So, I don't know. I just seen both sides of the coin, where these perceived soft kids come in, had both parents in the home. Maybe one's a doctor and the mother's a lawyer, whatever. Right? They're not going to be as tough as that kid that grew up in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true. That's 100% not true, because no matter what, again, from the walks of life that we talked about, you being 5 hours away from where I live and grew up, we were the same person in different demos.
It's true.
And so what I used to think doesn't equate to what it is now. Like, you don't have to be you don't have to have there's a word for it. I'm trying to really put my spin on it, but orphaned. Like, you don't have to have an orphan heart to be productive and to be successful
Man,
in the military.
man, please say that again, because I think that there are some people that really think that's what it is. Or you said it earlier, you said about broken, and people say, well, that carries a bad context and bad connotation, like we're all just like these broken toys. And I'm not saying that everyone is, or you have to be, right? But
No.
we are, as human beings, whether you are that child that you perceive is born into this, well-off family, or, everything's the way it should be, or they're the American dream. But are they? Do you know what goes on behind their closed doors? Do you know about the maybe sexual assault that goes down? Do you know about the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, the parents that may never be there, but they know how to put on a front? Some of the most evil people I know, no disrespect to you, or moral people, are church folks, right? And people get church hurt by them, right? So it's like the perception thing, like, let's be real, like that's not always true. And then some of the softest people I know, in the real sense of it, they'll be like, well, I'm from the whatever. And it's like, actually, you soft as a marshmallow, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and people, I remember coming to the Marine Corps and being like, oh, you from Virginia, you ain't hard or whatever. Like, okay, where you from? And they'd be like, I'm not going to name the places, but I'm like, oh, there's soft people in every neighborhood too. Like, you could be that, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to dictate for everybody, but the perception would be, oh, this person's, roughneck, they must be hard, or this person's from a coddled background, they must be soft. That might not always be true, bro.
Nope. And one of the best Marines I ever served with, he was I'm not going to say his name completely, but he was a fifth, right? He was whatever the fifth, right? 5 generations of the same name. And he come from money. His parents were well off, and he was one of the best Marines I'd ever served with.
Yeah.
And on the outset, I'm like, he's not like me. He doesn't grow up, not the trailer park, but not far from it, right?
Right.
And so, like, there's no way this kid is, from Massachusetts. He's gonna be soft, and he wasn't. He was a fantastic, outstanding Marine, and all of those walks of life and all those different things, like that, just changed my perception. Again, you don't have to have an orphan heart to be successful.
Yeah.
In the service, in the military,
or in anything, right? Anything. Yeah, it really is a unfair bias that we have, and I think it's great that we have a bias towards, and it should make us all even more motivated to be resilient. Like, we want the underdog, we want the get up, the come from humble beginnings and rise. But look, man, I remember when I first joined, and my background, when I remember, I'm not gonna say names like you didn't, but this person was very well off in their background. I can remember, like, their family, like, paid their bills for them, basically. And I remember I hated this person on the inside. I hated them. Like, I just thought that they were I just had a resentment towards them. Now,
sure,
my children have grown up privileged because of the service of, my spouse and I, and the things that we've been able to provide them. But they've had their own struggles in life of moving around and making different friends and living in foreign countries and, dealing with my crazy ass. That's enough in itself that'll send you to therapy, right? But like, hard is hard and tough is tough, and circumstances are hard, and it's different for everyone. So don't be so, another song, Moment of Truth by Gangstar. Billy Barter put me onto this. I love you, Barter. Moment of Truth by Gangstar. He said, don't be so quick to judge. You never know the hardships people don't speak of, right? And that comes in all socioeconomic statuses, all races, all genders, all everything, denominations, everything. Like, hard is hard, bro. So it's like, don't be so quick to judge. You never know the hardships people don't speak of. And it's, I think we could all take something from that and being a little bit more patient and less prejudice, prejudging of a situation towards each other, or our perceives, like, oh, this person must be this or must be that. Like, you don't know that yet. You know what I mean?
No, and I've taught myself a whole lot. Not just myself, but people have taught me a whole lot. Don't judge everybody under the same lens.
Nah.
More importantly, don't judge everybody under the same lens that you judge yourself.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
My expectations for my capabilities are way different than I don't know if you've ever done this, but like, I've downloaded my expectations on my kids, and really, I'm talking about me. I was able to do this at 12 years old. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
Right. That's come out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And then looking back on it, I'm like, I was just a different kid. Like we're all different.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of maturation. There's a ton of growing up.
Yeah.
And really, a lot of this just comes down to both.
It does. This is this thing. And, now looking back on the gentleman that I expressed that I had this discontent and resentment towards because they grew up in what I perceived was a silver spoon or well off. Now I look at it like, dang, bro, like this is like his parents did what they were supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I hating on him? And then now I'm doing that. And my children grow up in, more than privileged circumstances. So now I'm supposed to hate them too. Like, you hate your own. Like, what is this? Like, we end up hating ourselves in a way. Like, it's just, it's not fair. It's not fitting. And everyone's on their own journey and their own maturation. And the best thing we can do is be kind. You know what I'm saying? Is be kind to others, man.
It takes zero currency to show someone else some decency.
It's free. So is laughter. It's free. It's free. So why not, man? Somebody out there listening to us tonight, Ryan, is like, man, these two, they are just too much. I don't want to listen to this. This is whatever. And they may still be in a nihilistic mindset, or like, how do I really get to where it's great for y'all to have this Jay-Z moment of clarity and this dude just reciting off 90s rappers all day long. What would you?
Hey, we're showing our age.
I know, right? 80s babies. Hey, here we are. But what would you say to that person that's in the throes of it? Male, woman, child, old, young, they're just like, you don't know. And you know what I'm saying? Like, or they're thinking about making a permanent decision, like hurting themselves or hurting somebody else, or the way they're living is eventually going to hurt themselves or hurt somebody else. What would you say to them, bro?
Just keep moving forward. It's simple. It's to the point. Just keep your legs moving. If you continue to move forward, you can't go backward. And that's been the best piece of advice I've ever received. No matter what the circumstances look like, man, just keep moving forward. And eventually, like you said, this too shall pass, right? I can't tell you how many times, like, you talking about suicide, or I'm sorry, a couple episodes ago, you referred to suicide as something. What did you call it? You called it something different.
I think now the time to say now is death by suicide. Is that what?
Maybe it was something.
Because we're trying to lessen the stigma with committed, because when we hear committed, it sounds like somebody did a crime or something. So like it's trying to lessen the stigma with saying, but it's death by suicide. But there's also a lot of zombies walking around that are living, but they're not really living too. So there's that.
No, so not to go down a rabbit hole, but no, just keep moving forward. And if you keep moving forward, eventually you're gonna stumble onto something else. You're gonna stumble onto what you're looking for. You're not gonna regress. If you're progressing, you're not regressing. And that would be my encouragement. And again, obviously, or not obviously, but keep communication lines open. Right? Don't cut people off. Reach out to people. Don't be afraid to say, I need help. Don't be afraid to admit that you need help. All of those things are crucial to avoiding a situation, a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You're not alone in that. I'm not alone in that. There's other people that struggle. Just keep moving forward.
I love it, man. I really, I'm thankful for you. I'm grateful for your time. It's the most precious resource we have. So thank you for giving it to us and to the listeners today. And, to all of y'all out there, he said it, man, read, keep open palate, try, but keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Easier said than done. We know firsthand. Many others do too, but people want to help you, but just also remember they're not mind readers. So in a sense, to sound like Tom Cruise and Jerry Maguire, like, help me, help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, help me, help you.
It's true.
And people want to help, man. And obviously there's 988. You can always call that. I've provided some resources on my social media that it comes out and it says like it's for military folk, but it can relate to anybody. There's a playbook out there. We just don't know what we don't know. So don't be afraid to learn or to open up or to say, as you said, Ryan, I need help. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way, man. Again, man, I hope this isn't, I just want to say thank you, but I also hope this isn't our last time getting together on here. And if some other thoughts come to you, man, you're welcome back on here anytime. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. And just thank you for being a good human in this world. Because like you said, it's free to be kind. It's free.
Yep. I'm humbled and grateful.
Yeah, man. No. Please close us out, man. Close us out.
No, I'm just saying I'm humbled and grateful to be on here, and I appreciate you, and I couldn't be more thankful to have bumped back into you again.
That's it, man. That's it. Hey, so hey, thank you again, and to all y'all listening out there, man. Thank you. If this is helping, please share it. If you hate it, just don't listen to it anymore. Free will, man. You just make your own choices, brick by brick. They all add up. Thanks again, Ryan. Thank you all out there, listeners. Thank you, Monchichi Rex. And this has been our First Amendment in full effect. Much love. Make good choices. This too shall pass.